Hello everyone, welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, your number one stop for all things polling and election analysis in the United States. And today we're going to be looking at my latest forecast for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And make sure to follow me on X at onpointpolitics in all lowercase. And so there was a debate on Tuesday night between former President Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. We've recently seen some state polling with Donald Trump up in the state of Michigan by a point. The previous poll by that same pollster, which was Insider Advantage, had Harris up by 3 points not that long ago, insinuating that Donald Trump actually got a post-debate bump in the state of Michigan. We also see a Fabrizio internal on Donald Trump's side actually give him a post-debate bump as well. And we've seen two national polls from, somewhat liberal pollsters, that being Morning Consult and Ipsos, having Harris up by about 5. But again, those samples tend to skew very left, and in our average will more than likely be corrected once they are added in. And so, with all that new information, we will head over onto onpointpolitics.com, where you can see my latest election forecast, as well as the odds for either candidate to win. Donald Trump currently has a 70% chance to win the general election. And we see here that the former president is doing very well in the Electoral College, almost picking off the state of New Hampshire while winning the traditional swing states fairly easily and making some of these, deeper blue states from the previous election, which were decided by over 6 points for Joe Biden. Those include Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, and New Hampshire, relatively competitive and all below 3 percentage points. We can also see over here my national average has Donald Trump up in the popular vote by 2.79%, which, funny enough, Rasmussen reports are accurate pollster that we basically talk about on the channel pretty consistently, and that I just did a video on today looking at their latest poll. Their average right now has Donald Trump up by about a little bit over 2 points, and their latest poll with the unrounded numbers has Trump plus 2.5. We have Trump plus 2.8 in our average, and they were, pretty accurate in 2020 and 2016. They've actually oversampled Democrats beforehand, despite what the media and political pundits on Twitter will tell you. They are actually a pollster that tends to slightly oversample Democrats, and they have corrected for that this year, and they have Donald Trump winning the popular vote by a similar amount to what we have here in our average. And what we do is we essentially reweigh all of the polling data to a tied electorate to basically ensure that there is not any, egregious polling error, and you guys can have a little bit more of an accurate picture of the race. We see here that the former president, when Kennedy dropped out, was picking up a lion's share of Kennedy support. Harris didn't really pick up a lot of Kennedy support. We saw some undecideds go down and kind of go to Harris. However, now we see that the last couple of Kennedy support that has fallen off has gone undecided, and both candidates will be able to placate to that base. Donald Trump sitting at almost 49%, and he's polling almost the highest he ever has been in our average, that except being September 5th, where he was at 48.89%. We'll see if tomorrow he ends up passing that and crosses 49%. If he does, it's going to be incredibly difficult for him to lose the election, because even if Harris gained all the undecideds, she would be almost touching 50%, but that wouldn't even be good enough in order to win the Electoral College. And so looking at the Electoral College itself, the safe Republican states are Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, the Dakotas, as well as Montana, all of Nebraska except that 2nd congressional district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, as well as Missouri, including South Carolina, Alaska, Maine's 2nd congressional district, the state of Iowa, Ohio, and the state of Texas, all in the safe Republican column for the former president. Donald Trump is gaining with white and Hispanic voters in our forecast from the previous election, hence why he's winning states like Iowa, Ohio, and Texas by over 15 points in our election forecast. Looking at the safe Democrat states, we have the state of California coming in at just about roughly 20-ish points for Kamala Harris, Hawaii coming in at around 17 or 18 points for Harris, Vermont coming in at just a little bit over, 30 points for Harris, Massachusetts, slightly over 20 points. Maryland, a little bit over 20 as well. DC, a pretty big margin there. Harris getting 88% of the vote there. So we can all fill those in the safe Democrat column. But Joe Biden was winning 181 safe electoral college votes in the last cycle compared to Harris's only 85. So she is underperforming in some deep blue Democrat states. Looking at the likely Republican states, those are Florida coming in at around 12 or 13 points for Donald Trump. Georgia coming in for Donald Trump in our forecast here at a little bit over 6. It's actually like 6.5, maybe even 7 points. North Carolina is a little bit, more than 7 points, probably like 7.2%. The state of Arizona here is coming in at just a little bit around, the 7-point-ish margin here, a little bit more than 7 points actually. Looking at the state of Nevada, this is coming in at just below 5 points. It's like a 4.5-point win. Wisconsin is likely coming in at just exactly a 6-point margin for the former president. Pennsylvania coming in at just a little bit over 5 points as well, which is very fascinating to see Donald Trump gain in these swing states that he lost by effectively less than a point or a little bit over a point in the last cycle. And we see in the mainstream media aggregates right now, Donald Trump is performing 5 to 6 points better in the national average than he was before. And these are averages where he underperformed, or actually he was underestimated in. For example, RCP had Biden winning by 7.2. Now they have him losing by about 1.1%. So Biden was up by 7.2. Now Harris is up by 1.3% in the average. 538 had Biden up by 8.4% on election day. He ended up winning by 4.5, but now Harris is only up by 2. So again, you see a 6-point shift to the right in those averages that tend to oversample Democrats. In ours, we actually went back and tested our average to 2020 and weighed to the 2016 electorate and ended up getting Biden plus 5.2, which is more accurate than any of the other aggregators you would have seen. And right now we have Trump plus almost about 3, so that's an 8-point difference. Maybe we're oversampling him by about a point, but we'll still be more accurate than whatever RCP or 538 will be putting out as of right now. Looking at those likely Democrat states, we have Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, New Jersey, New York, and Maine's 1st congressional district, bringing Harris to 191 electoral college votes. We see here, New Jersey is just above, a little bit above, roughly 7 points. That's not great for her. Looking at Connecticut, that's about an 11-point win. Rhode Island is a little bit over 12. Delaware, about almost 10 points. New York, a little bit under 15. Maybe it's like a 14-point win for her. Colorado, it's a little bit under 10. That's not great for Harris. Oregon, slightly above 10. Washington, about a 12-point victory there. So yeah, she's holding up here, but not as much as she should be if she wanted this to be a competitive election. Illinois is only a little bit less than 10 points actually. It voted for Biden by 17. So again, we see 7-point shifts in a lot of these states to the right on average, which is pretty fascinating. And if Donald Trump is winning the popular vote by 3 and Wisconsin's a 6-point race for Donald Trump, that would match up with Wisconsin voting to the right of the nation by 3 or 4 points as to how it did last cycle. So again, very interesting stuff to see out of some of these states here. Looking at some of these closer states, Michigan, Nevada, and Nebraska second are in the lean Republican column. Now, Nevada is almost a likely state. It is about to be a likely state. Michigan is a little bit above a 3-point victory for Donald Trump here. And Nebraska second is actually almost the same margin as Michigan. Now, we kind of applied a new demographic model, and we found that Donald Trump is doing a lot better in Nebraska second due to a shift with white voters and suburban voters that most pollsters are not realizing will more than likely occur. And looking at some of these deep blue states, Maine is just about a 3-point win. In Virginia is a little bit over, it's 2.5. Minnesota is just above a point for Harris. And New Mexico is around a 3 or 2 point-ish victory. So Virginia, New Mexico and Maine are holding up, but Minnesota is only a point for Harris, and internals had her up by about 1.5 points when she replaced Biden as the nominee. And looking at New Hampshire, that is a tilt margin for her. And a lot of the polling does have her leading by a few points, but Jeremiah Watson, a friend of mine on X, actually reweighed all the polling data for me from the last 5 polls, and we get Harris plus 0.2, which is identical to the margin we currently have in our forecast here. And looking at my average, I mean, Trump is up there by 2 points right now based out of the 2 or 3 polls that are in the aggregate. And so right now, Donald Trump is expected to win in the Electoral College by a pretty sizable amount as of right now. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe. If you want more content just like this, make sure to follow me on X in the description down below, and comment to help us out with the algorithm. It would definitely be appreciated. And before you guys go, make sure to go to betonline.com. They have betting odds for the presidential election. You can go to their politics section and basically bet on every single state that you think the underdog is in to gain points or money in. We can also go to the swing state margins, and you can also bet on those as well. You can bet on the House of Representatives, as well as betting on the winner of the VP debate on October 1st, and even betting on the Senate elections, which I will be releasing a new House and Senate forecast fairly soon. I know I haven't done those quite often. And so I will see you guys in the next video.